Hi, my name is Tali Biggs. I'm going to ask Aunty Nancy here some questions about what was it like as a young Aboriginal person and so hence and so forth.
Well, I'm a Wiradjuri person from the Wiradjuri tribe. My grandmother was Wiradjuri. I was born on the banks of the Murrumbidgee River. This is a photo of my grandmother. And this is a photo of my mother. My mother was born at Hay. And that's me, 81 years ago.
Gee.
Place that I was born in. It was made out of tin from the tip. Kerosene tins flattened. My mother had to go to work. She went as a shearer's cook with my auntie and left me with my grandmother. And us kids all had grandmothers bringing them up in those days and aunties. And we all lived a very close relationship on the banks of the river, Sandhills it was called, in Narrandera. Where I grew up, it was a very laid-back community. The men had gone to the war, my father was in the war, and the younger women, most of the young women had to go to work.
So you say you grew up in a fairly female-driven lifestyle. So you've always had older women to look up to, and
my grandmother could speak the language very fluently, but she wasn't allowed to say it in front of us. The old people used to talk behind their hands like that, and not allowed to talk in front of us, our language. If they were caught, they were sent to jail.
So do you reckon your cultural identity had a lot to do with the way you grew up as well?
Yes. We were always scared of being taken away because I'm fair. My father was a white man, so that made me, as everybody called us, half-caste. Yeah. And we were very strongly, the government was motivated at that time to taking half-caste kids away to be trained to work in houses. We saw a big black car come and we'd hide in the bush. All of us, run, go. Nobody was allowed on the street after 6 o'clock at night. It was a curfew. So, you know, we were very frightened of the police. We had a lot of fun, but we had a lot of sadness. The river was a big thing for us. We were told stories of the river. The old people told us stories of the river, like the bunyip and the reed women and things like that. They had to tell us these stories to keep us safe. A bunyip was, some say it was, just a figure of everybody's imagination, but the old people say it used to live in the waterholes and around billabongs and creeks and rivers in the years gone by. That's what they thought, the old people. And, well, how do you know it didn't happen? And the bunyip was an awesome creature. We were told that if you go into these rivers, you've got to be very careful where you swim or where you go, because the bunyip is watching you wherever you go. And if you overstep your boundary, and he will take you into his waterhole, he will eat you. The bunyips used to graze the bottom of the water. Sometimes you see a whirlpool. Well, that's where it grazes. You don't go near that whirlpool. That's where it's grazing. So you've got to be on your lookout all the time that you're at the river. Watch where the whirlpools are. Watch where the bubbles are. Watch where the waves lap the side. He's a big fella, and he's got big claw-like hands that come out and grab you, take you down. Fearsome creature. That's the story, because, you know, that was to keep us safe on the river. And the reed women, well, they'd live in the reeds along the river bank, and We were told never to go to the river by yourself and never go at night. Never. And one night, this naughty little boy that never did what it's told, he went down to the river. And when you go to the riverbank at night, sometimes you hear this beautiful singing. It's like the beautiful music of the river. And all at once you see these beautiful bubbles come up and a rainbow. And if you're there by yourself, and as this little boy did, he was going over to the river, and they were calling him and singing to him as he walked along. And when he got to the river bank where the reed women were, and he saw the beautiful bubbles and the rainbow, and he came over and he bent over. Wow! Down he went, never to be seen again. The reed women sing you in Aboriginal words, that is, they'll bring you to the spot. So you had to be very careful. Never, ever go to the river by yourself at night. So there you go. They're the sort of stories we grew up with. We still got them in our minds today, 81 years on. The thing is with stories like that and, you know, telling kids, today there is so much in the universe that they tell you, oh, you know, this is, you go here and go there and do this and do that. Well, it's pretty hard to tell kids those stories today. And I feel for the young people today because it's very hard for them to grab their culture now, you know, growing up now. They have such a full life and it's all go, 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 where before, when I was growing up on the riverbanks, we sit and listen to the grandparents because we had no television, no wirelesses or anything, no electricity. So we could sit down and listen to the grandparents and the aunties and the uncles. And one of the stories is about the song line. Our songline started from the hill people, and as they came down, they'd meet at a certain place. Now these songline people were coming to bring the message of the hills down. Now it might be about, they might have had food to say, here, try this, Bogon Mothwanja, try this, or they might have had, the clever man might have had something really good to tell you, or something else, you know. You might have a good idea. A woman would come along and say to you, now, when you're having a baby, go here or do this or do that. Clever people see. These were the people that came in the songlines, were the clever people and the smart people of the tribe. They met at a certain place. Wiradjuri people used to give them the gum leaf, and that would make sure that they had good passage through the land that they travelled until they got to the next tribe. And that's what the songline's all about. They used to sing it as they went. It was quite an exciting time, and they'd go from here to the Queensland border, along the ridges. I think the young people today, to where I grew up, they've got a lot of pressure on them to do good, to be good, to do this, to do that. You don't get time to be naughty. No. Isn't that a shame? My life was easy in one way, but not in another. You didn't have the horrors that we had in the background of us, you know, with all the police and the running and the taking away and all this. You've got all that behind you as our history. And it's not to be forgotten, but we're getting over that. Yes. And that's what we're seeing with the young people today. over and up. That's the way to go, girl. You are very, very clever people. We come from a clever lot of people. We wouldn't have been here for 40,000 odd years if we weren't.